Okay, I get asked on a regular basis, how do you calculate your grade so you know where you're at right now, what you need to get on subsequent assignments in order to get the grade, the final letter grade you want, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to run you through how to calculate your grade based on the information given in the syllabus and what you've done in class right now. Okay, so to do this, you're going to need a spreadsheet of some sort. I'm using Excel right here, but a lot of this holds true for Google Sheets as well. And I believe it's Numbers still on Mac. So whatever spreadsheet you have, just know that you can do that there. Okay, the first thing you want to do is pull up the syllabus for your class. Now, I'm going to be using an old syllabus for a forensics class of mine, so don't be afraid if this isn't your class. This is just for the example, so you can see what's in the syllabus. You will also want to see if you have a grade book in your class. Depending on the platform that your teacher is using, they might use something like eCampus or Canvas or Google Classroom or something. There's usually a gradebook so you can see what you've gotten. If you don't have a gradebook, go back through your graded things and see what you've gotten on those things and be able to and keep track of them this way. You might have to reach out to the professor. It just depends on the situation. It depends on the class. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to start your spreadsheet by adding in all of the grades that are possible for this particular class. So this is a very basic syllabus. It's very generic here, but at some point they're going to have a list of all of the things or a paragraph of all of the things that earn you points during the semester. Okay, so this is where we're going to go. Now, when I do this sort of thing, I like just copying and pasting just to make it a little bit easier, but you can hand enter that. So we can do that now. Let's make this so it's a little easier to see. Okay, now I do this by column. So at the top, I'm going to put, this is the total points. And then I'm going to add in each one of these assignments. So in this case, it's an intro quiz, unit quizzes, textbook, exam 1, exam 2, final, discussion, time of death, blood spatter, forensic entomology, anthropology, fingerprints, and final case analysis. Okay, so notice on this one, you can see things like the 13-unit quizzes, they are lumped together. The textbook questions look like they're lumped together, that sort of thing. So if you want, at this point, since you know how much each quiz is worth, you could make 13 separate columns for each one of these quizzes and make them worth 20 points each. It's really up to you. I'm not going to do that because that'll take a lot of extra time, but you can if you have different grades on those quizzes, or you can just do a total. So then underneath these columns right here, you are going to put the total points. Okay. Now, total points, this should be a running adding or a running sum over there. Okay? And hopefully it meets what is here in the syllabus. So in this case, it's 20 points for the intro quiz. All dyslexic there. 260 points for the quizzes, 100 points for the textbook questions, 100 points for each exam, 200 points for the final. Discussion is 20. Pathology is 50, blood spatter 50, forensic entomology 50, anthropology 40, fingerprints 40, and final case is 200. Okay, so now I've got all those things in. Then I can put a sum here. This is something that computers do really well. They do math for you, which is one of the reasons we use spreadsheets a lot. So in this case, if I wanted to add up everything, if you don't know how to do this, you hit the equal sign to tell Excel that you're putting in a formula. In this case, it's sum. You do an open parentheses, and then you just drag over everything you want to add. Hey, look, the math was correct. Now at this point, if you have a different number than what's on the syllabus, I highly recommend reaching out to your professor. There might be a mistake somewhere. They might help you find where you entered a mistake, but you want to make sure that you are able to earn as many points as possible and that everything adds up. Okay, now your next job is to go and get what grades you have earned in that class or on these assignments. Okay, so you can do this either by going to your learning management system, going to say, let's see, to eCampus or Canvas or, whatever it is. And you're going to usually have a little link that says grades or somewhere that you can check your grades, right? Okay, so this is an example of what you'll see on if you use eCampus. It's slightly different in all the learning management systems, but it's something like this. So you should be able to go through and see what your final grade is, see what you have on all of your assignments, that sort of thing. Okay, so you can enter those things in here. Now, let's say, since this is my preview account and I haven't done any assignments for this class, let's just make up what we have here. Let's say you got a 20 on the intro quiz. This is where those unit quizzes, it comes in very handy if you want to put individual columns for each individual quiz so you can really see what it is. But let's say, I don't know, I got 150 out of 260 points total. I didn't do the textbook thing, so I got a 0 there. I got a 90 on the first exam, an 85 on the second. I got maybe 160 on the final. I haven't done that. And let's say, or I got a 0 on that. Let's say I haven't done any of the rest of these things. Okay, so what I can do now is I can then make another sum. There's two ways you can do this. You can either do that equal sum, open parentheses, and then click and drag for everything that you want to include in that. Or, and this is where Excel makes it really easy, this is super nice, if you go down, if you highlight your cell right above it, and it has exactly what you want in it. So we've already done the sum there. If you click on this, it'll show you where it is. Okay, so we've already done the sum there, but if you click on it, you see this, there's a little square box in the bottom right when you highlight the cell. If I click and drag that, it's going to copy what I did put in that cell before just to the next row. And it's going to do the exact same things, just one row down. So if I click that, see, everything is included there. Excellent. Cool. So now this shows me where my grade is right now, what I've done, that sort of thing. These are the number of points that I've earned. Now, in order to translate this into an actual letter grade, you'll need to do a percentage. And again, on Excel, that's super, super easy. So what you do here is you're just going to take the grade you earned and divide it by the total number of points. Straightforward, right? So that's how you do a percentage. Take a number, divide it by the whole, done. So in this case, again, you can just do an equal sign. And then you're going to tell the computer, I want to take whatever the answer is in this cell. So that's the number of points that I've earned. Okay. And then I'm going to divide it by, so that's just that slash, and then click on the total points. And I like doing it this way because if I put in any typos or something like that, I don't have to recalculate everything. You can do this by hand if you want, but I'm never good at that, so I do it this way. Okay, then you hit enter, and that gives you a number here. So remember how you turn decimals into percents? You just move the decimal point twice, or if you're using Excel, you can do this thing called format cells and click on percentage. So that'll give you a percentage to however many decimal places you want. I'll just do 0 decimal places. So I now know I have a 41% in this class. In every syllabus, we're required to put what our grading scheme is. So a grading scheme is what percent equals what letter grade, since we have to upload the grade. So in this case, for this class, my grading scheme is somewhere between 90 and 100% is an A, 80 to 89% is a B, 70, 79 is a C, etc. So now I know I've got 41%, so that means I've got an F so far in this class. All right, so what I want to do then is go through and see how will my grade change if I, do the work. So let's say I decided to go back and do that discussion. I got a 20 on it. Good. Notice as I'm adding in this stuff, my grade percentage is changing. So let's say I get 100% on everything else. Where will that put me? So if I earn 100% on everything else, given how I've done on the stuff so far, the highest grade I could possibly earn right now is 78%. So now I know where I could be. Okay, so let's say I went back and did that. Okay, if I did the textbook exams, I'll get an 86%, so that's pretty good. So maybe I need to figure out how to work with the quizzes a little bit better, something like that. Now, you can add in extra credit here. So the way that extra credit works in a grade is extra credit isn't worth or doesn't add to the total grade here. So in a grade book, it would be something like extra credit, it's worth 0 points because when we add things up, we don't want it to add to what's here, right? So that's going to be worth 0 points. You notice the total isn't going to change. Extra credit is to give you extra points. So in this case, let's say you did 100 points of extra credit. Okay, so you make sure that this is including those 100 points of extra credit. Oops. So you just make this a little bit longer. So if I did 100 points of extra credit and got 100% on everything left, that would bring my grade up to an A. See how that works? So you can keep this running total at home so you can calculate exactly where your grade is right at this moment, given what we've given back to you and what you need to earn on every future assignment or on any extra credit or whatever else in order to get the grade that you want. This will also help you determine, is it possible to get an A? Because sometimes I get people coming to me and saying, hey, I've got a 41% in this class. I've done all the assignments. I need an A. At that point, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you're going to need, let's say, everything was a 0 here. You're going to need something like 50 or 1,500 points of extra credit. No, I can't give you that. Okay, so let's say, I've got a 57%. How much am I going to need? So you could just sort of play with this number. In order to get a C, you need 300 points of extra credit. That's a lot. Okay, so this allows you to play around with things and actually have numbers so you know I need this number of points in order to reach the grade that I want. All right, I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions.